and welcome. I'm Anand Naidu, filling in for Riz Khan. When it comes to Afghanistan, many questions are being raised about the future United States military role in that country. At the heart of the current debate is a request by the top U.S. commander in Afghanistan for more than 40,000 additional troops. With an apparent split between his military and civilian advisors, U.S. President Barack Obama is said to be looking for a third way, one that takes a more middle-of-the-road approach. But there is no talk of any withdrawal. Last week, Mathew Hoh, a senior U.S. civilian representative in Afghanistan, quit his post, saying he no longer saw any value in continued U.S. involvement in what he described as a 35-year-old civil war. On today's show, we ask, is it time for the U.S. to withdraw from Afghanistan? And what would that mean for U.S. security and for the Afghan people? A reminder, you can join the conversation with your questions and comments. You can send an SMS or email, and we also welcome your phone calls on the show. Joining me now is Mathew Hoh, a former Marine Corps captain. Mr. Hoh served at the Pentagon and saw combat in Iraq. As a civilian, he managed reconstruction projects in Iraq before joining the State Department and being sent to Afghanistan's Zabul province. Mathew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Local areas with that type of approach before. And I'm not sure if we have the organizational competence to do so. That's a very difficult and tricky aspect to do something like that. The other part, too, is that, remember, we're allied with the central government. And if this is a civil war, the central government's on one side of it, we're on the central government side. So there are people who just don't want the central government in their lives, who, if the central government approaches them, is going to push them away anyhow. So it's very difficult. And again, Afghanistan is not Iraq. We have to be very careful about saying what worked in Iraq, what worked in Afghanistan, but I believe the approach of buying loyalties would work in Afghanistan. However, again, go back to it, I'm more concerned about why are we there in the first place as opposed to how.
In fact, we did get an email about that. This was from Tajwali Khan. Sent us an email via Facebook, and he asks, why doesn't the U.S. isolate the Taliban from al-Qaeda and bring them to the table? With American support, can they not form a better government than Karzai?
I'd say I'd have to agree with that. It's an excellent point, and I agree with that. Again, it goes back to political reconciliation is the key to stabilizing Afghanistan.
Well, there was President Karzai mentioned there, and as you know, he's just been declared the winner of the last election, the August election. Well, went into a runoff, one candidate withdrew. He's now the president. What kind of legitimacy do you think he enjoys in Afghanistan? I mean, I looked at some of them, of what you said in your letter, and you were very harsh on him. I mean, you said that he presides over a government that is involved in glaring corruption and unabashed graft, a president whose confidants and chief advisors comprise drug lords and war crimes villains, and there is a system of provincial and district leaders constituted of local power brokers, opportunists and strongmen, and the election process itself, you says, was dominated by fraud and discredited.
Yes.
He shouldn't be there.
You shouldn't be there.